thing is the kind of outpouring of love and support and acceptance that I've gotten from this group of women.
But it's the relationships within the groups that are most valuable, and that's why I keep going back. Actually, it's because of the connection to the other men.
Under the right conditions, people's true voices might emerge, and those true voices were voices of wisdom. You know, I know we're called a book study group, but we're really a committed, intentional community of women.
The dynamic of the group has remained healthy even under the strain of not being able to sit in the same room together, and that's a joy.
I think the connections that I've made with this group of women has really been inspiring. Each one of those gals brings, I don't want to use the word gals.
I love to eat. So the most joyful thing really was when we were doing it, getting together and cooking for each other.
The camaraderie that we have formed around these issues that mean so much to us has been very joyful.
Spontaneous moments of people sort of having the courage to speak their deeper truth and having it received by the group in such a way that I think might have surprised them.
Community and stories and sharing vulnerabilities and humor.
Who was the funniest person in the women's group?
Paula Peterson.
That I'm realizing and learning that much of what I've learned in my life and as growing up and in school is inaccurate.
A much deeper awareness of the situation that Black people in particular, but probably minorities and poor people and a lot of people struggle with, that I just don't have to experience. I'm in such a privileged position.
I never thought of myself as a racist, but learning that really you need to be anti-racist.
In the 60s, you didn't ask questions about this. Not where I was from. I'm not in my upbringing. You didn't ask questions. You just accepted it, and you memorized what you had to memorize, and you moved on. Like liberty and justice for white Anglo-Saxon Protestant men.
I now understand how much of U.S. history has been left out.
The Warmth of Other Suns, all three of those stories deepen my understanding of the lingering effects of slavery in mid-20th century, early mid-20th century, and how that prompted, this mass migration to the South. And it always made total sense to me that people left the South. Mm-hmm. But I had no idea, I hadn't had the full picture of the sort of more subtle prejudice that awaited them in the West and the North.
Saving God from Religion book really, really meant a lot to me. And of course, that's kind of a progressive type of thinking.
I think Enrique, he was from Central America trying to get into the US, and how many times he tried and was denied because he was trying to find his mother, who left for the US, snuck into the US to make money to send back. So that particular story about what kind of struggle and what a mother would give up to try to give her children a better life.
One of my key mentors, Eric Neumann, who started the whole depth psychology movement way back in the 1950s, in his book, Depth Psychology, makes a comment in the beginning of the book or in the preface of the book that until the white man embraces the brown man, his soul will not be healed.
Up until the year 2000 in Alabama, it was illegal to marry interracially. Up until
2000?
2000.
Seriously?
There's something that is holy that goes on among these people.
I think God is love and kindness. That's what I think. So that's where I see it in these women, and also in a lot of the characters that we've read about.
Through the members themselves. I mean, each of those members brings the presence of God to our group, no doubt.
You can just see God's love in all of these women, in all of their compassion for all of the people that we have read about.
Solidarity, love, sharing, knowing that these people will listen to me and not judge me.
I feel so empowered as a person to be in the presence of other human beings who are sacred and sharing their stories of life.
Our book study always begins with a prayer and some kind of reflection, and we always end with prayer and reflection. I think we keep God at the center of our discussions.
We must do our own work, and we can work in community.
If we avoid teaching history, racism, and of racism in this country and all of that, it will go on and on and on because people will not have a way to access that information.
Like what we're doing, we're moving on to explore more on indigenous cultures, which is another culture.
Where we can be vulnerable and still feel accepted and loved. And I hope that we can keep that going.